Mania Asamata did it. Sarudas and Sebida Hova.
Today the sadhana will continue with the fourth jhana.
Tatiya Zangara Pidiya Yaja Adegama Ubekako Uerati Sato Sambajano Sukanja Kayena Pidisa Viditi Sadi Walinya Pyoga Tudia Sama Pididi Mishira Pidida Ude Visarava Mashika, Ude Visara Tudia Samaria Mashi, Tadia Sanjaro, Pidiva Mashido. Niti are Pididi. Edikama Tadia le Turuchaja Kaunare. Adiga leve Turuchaja Kaunare. Tuka Povido Poluenlare, Chanda Poluenlare. Niataya Amna Chanda, down to Divaima. Pia Bogumia Tetang Tetane Tadidi Miabiro Adidi level Shimido Chandas one in Babi Di Paima Yogi Chimunja Pare Tadia Sambo Itadia Zanga Yendo Uriavia Nyabaima Pipare.
Before getting on to the fourth jhana, perhaps it would be nice to refresh your memory with regards to the third Vipassana jhana. As was mentioned yesterday, there is the absence of a couple of jhanic factors in this third jhana. There is the absence of initial application, vitaka and vichara, which is discursive thinking, as well as piti, or rapture. Noble ones, those who have been enlightened, speak in praise of the yogi who, having gone beyond the first two jhanic factors, are now enjoying the comfort and happiness of body and mind that accompany this third jhanic stage. Not only is meditation at that point very comfortable and easy, but mindfulness too is very sharp and clear, and insight very penetrative.
Eri Dadiya Zanchanda ha Pidiga Makinde Lucia Pira Atushuma Vira Pame Chaja Leve so Shumachin Absent South Shoma Belucia Pidizi Piamjamiro Yotarate Erali Uleve Taya Vido Makwana Pini Dadiya Zanga Dudia Zanga Made Di time of Shini Dora Radikama Two Suicide Vido knitting Sadi Boli Dilu Mama Beade Mabiro Pidia Shim Pie Vido နောက်ဆုတ်ပြီးတော့ထူးထူးခြားခြားကြီးတရားရတာတွေတွေ့လာတယ်လူတွေဆိုတာမျိုးကဒုက္ခသိကြိုက်တာအဲ့လိုလှုပ်လှုပ်ရှားရှားလေးနဲ့ဆိုသိပြီးတော့ကြိုက်တာအဲ့ဒီလှုပ်လှုပ်ရှားရှားလေးနဲ့ကြိုက်နေလို့ရှိရင်တော့ကြောင်းကြမပြည့်ရပဲနဲ့တည်တည်ငြိမ်ငြိမ်နဲ့အေးချမ်းတဲ့ချမ်းသာဘယ်နည်းနဲ့မှမရနိုင်တော့ဘူးဒီနေရာဌာနမှာကြံ့ကံများမှာဥပမာပေးထားတာနှုတ်ဆိုတဲ့နွားငယ်လေးများသူ့ကိုချီမထားလို့ရှိရင်သူ့ကိုဖယ်ရှားမထားလို့ရှိရင်နောမကြီးထံချင်းကပ်တော့လူတွေမှာနွားလို့မရတော့ဘူးတဲ့ပြီးတော့နွားလေးကိုဖယ်ထားရတယ်နွားလေးဖယ်ထားမှဒီနွားလေးဟာနမကြီးထံမချင်းကပ်တော့နွားလို့ရနိုင်တယ်နွားလို့ရတာရနိုင်တယ်အဲ့ဒါလိုဥပမာလေးနဲ့ပေးထားပါတယ်ဒါကလို့ပီတိကနွားလေးနဲ့တူတယ်တတိယဇံကတော့နွားမကြီးနဲ့တူတယ်သူကတော့အဲ့ဒီနွားလို့ရတာခံစားရတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်များတော့တတိယဇံချမ်းသာကိုခံစားရတဲ့တူတယ်အဲ့ဒါလိုဥပမာလေးပေးထားပါတယ်ဒီနေရာမှာကြာကြာနာဖြည့်ရှင်းပြီးတော့ဟောခြင်းပါတယ်ဒါပေမဲ့လို့သိပြီးတော့အချိန်မရပါဘူး
နွားမဘာနဲ့တူ
နွားမတော့တတိယဇံနဲ့တူတာပေါ့တတိယဇံချမ်းသာတယ်တတိယဇံချမ်းသာတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ကနွားလို့ရတာကိုခံစားတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်နဲ့တူတာ
ဒုတိယဇံဘာနဲ့တူတာလဲ
ပီတိရဲ့နွားလေးဒုတိယဇံပဲပြန်ပြီးတော့သွားနေတယ်ပီတိရမကင်းတော့ဘူး
The transition stage from the second jhana to the third is very important. It is critical. It is human nature to have a strong attachment to thrilling experiences, to the sort of happiness that is exciting and creates a lot of mental agitation. And this is precisely what happens when rapture arises. Rapture creates ripples in the mind. It's a very thrilling experience, very exciting. And as long as the yogi is attached to these feelings of rapture, she will never be able to experience the third jhana, the third Vipassana jhana. At that time, mindfulness is pretty sharp and you're having a lot of fun, experiencing all those thrills and chills and so forth that are happening in your body. It is important, therefore, to be even more mindful and vigilant during that transition stage so that you can go beyond the adolescent happiness of rapture. This means that when you do experience all those feelings of thrilling and exciting rapture and joy, you should make it a point to note those feelings very intently without getting attached or caught up in them. Only then can the momentum of rapture recede and eventually fade away, giving rise to a more matured and subtle sort of happiness that comes with a sort of peaceful and silent comfort of mind and body. The scriptures give us an analogy to illustrate this point of to illustrate this difference between the happiness of rapture and that of peaceful and calm, quiet comfort. It's like a mother cow which has a calf that is which she is suckling. It is important to wean this calf as soon as is possible, so that the milk that is produced in the mother cow can be used by human beings, so that the mother cow can be milked. If the calf is not weaned, it will continually be approaching the mother cow and taking away all the milk. So this calf is likened to the second jhana that is feeding and thriving on piti or rapture, while the mother cow can perhaps be compared to the third jhana, and the person who is able to milk the cow after weaning the calf and enjoy the taste of fresh milk can be compared to the yogi who has successfully gone beyond the enjoyment of rapture and attained to the third jhana.
ဒီတတိယဇာချမ်းသာဟာအတိမတုရစုခလို့ကျမ်းဂန်များမှာဒီတိုင်းပြပါတယ်အတိမတုရစုခဆိုတာအလွန်ချိုမြိန်တဲ့ချမ်းသာလို့ဆိုတယ်ဒီမှာကဘာဖြစ်လို့ချိုမြိန်ရတယ်လို့ဆိုတော့ဒီမှာကစုခကခေါင်းတိတ်ရောက်သွားပြီတတိယဇာမှာစုခခေါင်းတိတ်ပဲဟိုဘက်မှာဆိုရင်စုခမရှိတော့ဘူးတို့ဒီလိုခေါင်းတိတ်ရောက်နေတဲ့စုခကိုတတိယဇာအခိုက်အတန့်မှာဘာဖြစ်လို့မตายရမိသတုံးလို့ဆိုတော့တတိနဲ့ပညာသိကောင်းတာဒီပိုင်းကမလွတ်တမ်းလည်းမှတ်နိုင်တယ်မလွတ်တမ်းမှတ်နိုင်သလောက်တီလည်းသိနေတာပဲဓမ္မပြီးတော့သိနေတော့အလွန်ချုပ်မြင်တဲ့ချမ်းသာပေါ်မှာตายရမှုမဖြစ်ဘူးတဲ့ဒီလိုဆိုမိချက်ရှိပါတယ်လက်တွေ့နေရပြင်ဟုတ်လဲဟုတ်ပါတယ်ယင်သောဥရိယဘေကညာဘက်ရောက်လာလို့ရှိရင်ယောဂီကမตายရတော့ဘူးဆက်ပြီးတော့သာအမှတ်ကလေးတွေတွတ်တဲ့တရှိနဲ့တက်ပြီးတော့သူကလည်းသူသွားနေတာပဲတိတ်ထင်ရှားနေတာဒါလေးတွေလည်းကြားနေတာဟောကြပါတယ်ဒါပေမဲ့လို့အချိန်ရမရတော့
The scriptures tell us that the happiness or comfort that is experienced in this third Vipassana jhana is the peak or the climax of sweet happiness. It is the sweetest sort of happiness that can be experienced in the course of the lower Vipassana insights. Now the question remains as to why the yogi does not get attached to this super sweet happiness, just as he had got attached to thrilling rapture. We are told by the scriptures that at this point of practice, the yogi's mindfulness is fantastically sharp and clear. And so too is the insight. the mindfulness is so sharp and swift that each moment of occurrence is noted very, very precisely. And whatever that is noted to is known through insight, very, very lucidly, in a very complete and lucid way. Because of that, there is no chance for attachment. There is ease of noting, and there is a comprehensive and panoramic sort of mindfulness going on. Everything is being noted very easily and without any slips. Why is it called the climax of happiness? Because after this matured state of insight into the arising and passing away of phenomena, where this third Vipassana jhana occurs, there will be no more happiness, there will be no more comfort. Going beyond this insight, the other levels or stages of insight are devoid of this jhanic factor of comfort.
အဲ့ဒါလို့တတိယလည်းကောင်းကောင်းအတိကလည်းပဲခက်ရှင်းရှင်းခက်ပြပြရှုတိုင်းမလတ်ပေါ်လေတိတိလာရှုမှတ်ပြီးတော့သိလာတယ်။တော့ရှုမှတ်ပါများတဲ့ခါကျတော့ရှုကအာယုံရဲ့အစဖြစ်ပေါ်မှုမထင်ရှားတော့ဘူး။အဆုံးပိုင်းပဲတွေ့တော့တာပဲ။ပြီးတော့လက်ချီကောင်းပုံသဏ္ဍာန်စသည်ဒါတွေကလည်းပဲမထင်ရှားတော့ဘူး။ထင်ရှားတော့ယောဂီကရှုမိရအာယုံရဲ့အဆုံးပိုင်းလေးဒါတော့သာတွေ့နေတော့မရှိတာတွေမှတ်နေရတယ်လို့ဖြစ်တော့သူဟာတရားတွေကြာသွားတယ်လို့ဘာလို့မကောင်းလို့ဖြစ်သွားတယ်အရင်လိုမချမ်းသာတော့တက်နဲ့တခါတည်းတစ်ချိန်နဲ့ဖြစ်လာတာဟုတ်ပြီးတော့လက်ချေကောင်းပုံသဏ္ဍာန်တွေကလည်းမရှိဘူးဆိုတော့မှတ်ရတာဟာအရသာမရှိတယ်လို့ဖြစ်သွားတယ်မချမ်းသာတယ်လို့ဖြစ်သွားတယ်အဲ့ဒါမှဒုက္ခအလိုလိုပြုတ်သွားတာပဲဒါပေမဲ့လို့ဒီခါကျမှဉာဏ်ကပူရှင်းလာတာရှင်းပုံကတော့စောစောပဲဉာဏ်နေဆိုလို့ရှိရင်လက်ရှိကောင်းပုံသဏ္ဍာန်นี่ပါနေတော့ပညာတည်နေတွဲနေတော့မရှင်းသေးဘူးပရမတ္ထသဘောလည်းသိသလောက်တော့သိပါတယ်တော်တော်လေးရှင်းတော့သိပါတယ်ဒါပေမဲ့ပညာတည်နေတွဲနေတော့မရှင်းသေးဘူးဒီအပိုင်းကလက်ရှိကောင်းပုံသဏ္ဍာန်ပညာတည်ကင်းပြီးတော့ရှုကအာယုံရဲ့နောက်ဆုံးအပြတ်ပိုင်းတွေ့ရှင်းလာပရမတ်ကြီးတက်ပေါ်လာတာရှုကအာယုံကလည်းပရမတ်တက်ရှုတာကလည်းပဲပရမတ်တက်ပဲညာလည်းပဲသိပြီးတော့ထက်မြက်လာတော့သူ့ဟာသူအလိုလိုပဲမှတ်တယ်လို့ဖြစ်သွားတယ်အရှုကအာယုံလေးတွေကလည်းပဲအလိုက်တဲ့သူ့ဟာသူပဲပေါ့ပြီးနေတယ်လို့ဖြစ်နေတယ်အစပိုင်းမှာမကောင်းတယ်လို့ဖြစ်ပြီမဲ့လို့နောက်ပိုင်းအရှိရသွားတဲ့ခါကျတော့သူ့ဟာသူလိုက်တင်လေးအေးစီစီလေးခါတယ်ကောင်းသွားတာမှတ်လို့အဲ့ဒီလိုမှတ်တိုင်းမှာအာယုံရောမှတ်စိတ်ပါပျောက်ပြီးတော့သွားတဲ့အပိုင်းကိုဒါပင်ကညာပိုင်းခေါ်ပါတယ်
When the mindfulness becomes very sharp and clear, the objects that are being perceived too will be seen very, very clearly. In fact, the insight that comes in the wake of sharp mindfulness becomes so powerful at that point that it begins to see only the ending of phenomena. The beginning becomes unapparent, and only the ending or dissolution is seen in a very rapid fashion. This is coming out of the third jhana, At this point, rather than feeling comfortable or happy with what's going on, the yogi gets a bit distraught, gets a little bit upset. Just earlier on, everything seems to be going on so well, arising and passing of phenomena from moment to moment. It's all very neat and tidy. But now, it seems as though the rug has been pulled from under you. Everything is moving so fast, and you have no chance at all to even note their beginnings. There is just a falling away of phenomena, one after another, one after another. And sometimes the yogi is left in a dilemma, because before he has a chance to note what's happening, it's gone. It's as though you're left with empty space. But even that does not last, because the next thing you know is another phenomenon has fallen away, and another one has gone away, and so on. At this stage of practice too, bad phenomena become so clear and lucid that concepts all disappear. In the earlier insights, although the yogi can perceive the arising and passing of phenomena steadily, there is still a mixture of perception. There is a perception both of ultimate reality, of those phenomena which can be directly experienced without going through the thinking process, as well as concepts of form, of body, of your arms, your legs, your abdomen, your head, your neck, your back, and so forth. But come this stage of insight, all such concepts fall off by themselves. You are totally unaware of where that particular phenomena is happening. All that is perceptible to you is disappearing phenomena. This, as was mentioned earlier, can bring about a sense of discomfort in the yogi's mind, even discouragement and disappointment. What happened? I was doing so well, and now suddenly everything seems to be going out of control. I can't keep up with the noting. Something's wrong with my meditation. You start to make a lot of self-judgment, you get dissatisfied with yourself, with your practice, and so forth. It is obvious that the jhanic factor of comfort has disappeared. However, though the yogi may find this new space kind of unfamiliar and rather difficult to work with at the beginning, as he gets on with the momentum of the practice, then he gains a new sort of ease in the practice. These phenomena can be watched from a very cool and easy space, where you settle back and there is this continual flow of phenomena passing away, dissolving, one after another. This is called the insight into dissolution of phenomena.
စုခမရှိတော့ဒုက္ခဝရှိနေသလားလို့ဆိုတော့ကိုယ်ရဲ့မခံစားမှုဒုက္ခလည်းမရှိဘူးအဲ့ဒါလည်းပဲကင်းသွားတယ်တဲ့
There is something interesting about this particular stage of insight. Although there is no more mental or physical comfort or happiness or ease. You cannot say that there is physical discomfort. In fact, at this point of practice, there are no pains in the body.
ပီတိရလည်းမရှိတော့ဘူးဆိုတော့တတိယဇန်တွေကပီတိရပြုတ်သွားပြီသရုဒ္ဓဇန်ရောက်တဲ့အခါကျတော့ပီတိရအရှင်းကိုမရှိတော့ဘူးပီတိရှိမှစိတ်နှလုံးချမ်းသာမှုသောမနစဆိုတာဖြစ်တာပဲပြီးတော့ဒေါမနစခေါ်တဲ့စိတ်နှလုံးချမ်းသာမှုဒါကလည်းပဲနှုသောဥရိယပြညာပိုင်းလောက်တည်းကကုန်ပါပြီအထူးအားဖြင့်ရင်သောဥရိယပြညာပိုင်းလောက်မှာဆိုရင်စိတ်နှလုံးချမ်းသာမှုဆိုတာအရှင်းကိုမရှိတော့ဘူးစောစောတဲ့ကိုကဒီသောမနစခေါ်တဲ့ဝေဒနာဒေါမနစခေါ်တဲ့ဝေဒနာဒီစိတ်ဝေဒနာတွေပေါ့လေနှမျိုးလုံးဝေဒနာတွေဟာအကုန်လုံးချုပ်ခဲ့ပြီသူက
Earlier on, when the second Vipassana jhana was occurring, piti or rapture was present. When rapture is present, this indicates that there is also pleasurable feeling in the mind. But in the third jhana, rapture has been overcome. And therefore, this pleasurable feeling in the mind too is no longer present. But in the third jhana, there is the jhanic factor of comfort. Comfort suggests also a subtle sort of physical and mental pleasure. When this occurs, mental displeasure too is discarded or abandoned. Therefore, during the beginning of insight into the rise and fall of phenomena, there is no longer any mental displeasure. And when that insight matures into the third Vipassana jhana, this mental displeasure is totally absent.
ဒီတော့ဒီဇံဖြစ်တဲ့အခါဣတိစိကသုခနဲ့ဣတိစိကဒုက္ခပါလေဒါလည်းပဲချုပ်နှိမ့်နေပြီယခုလောလောဆယ်လည်းပဲကာယိကသုခနဲ့ကာယိကဒုက္ခလည်းမရှိတော့ဘူးဆိုတော့အဒုက္ခမသုခဆိုတာထင်ရှားသွားပြီအဒုက္ခဒုက္ခလည်းမရှိဘူးအသုခသုခလည်းမရှိဘူးဒုက္ခမရှိသုခမရှိတဲ့ဥပေက္ခသဘောဆိုတာဒီမှာပေါ်လာတယ်
So you can see that as both mental pleasure and displeasure, as well as physical comfort and discomfort, are absent in the yogi at this particular stage of practice. There can only be left behind a neutral sort of feeling, which is neither pleasurable nor displeasurable, neither comfortable nor uncomfortable. This is called upekkha as a feeling, meaning neutral feeling.
ဒီခါမှာရှုမှတ်မှုတတိဟာလုံးဝကိုစင်ကြဲလာတယ်တဲ့ဒီလိုဆိုပါတယ်
It is said that right now, at this stage of practice, the mindfulness is perfectly pure.
ဘယ်သူကလှုပ်ပေးလို့လုံးဝစင်ကြဲလာသလဲလို့ဆိုတော့ဘောဇင်9ပါးထဲမှာနောက်ဆုံးဘောဇင်ပေါ့လေဥပ္ပခာတံဘောဇင်ဆိုတာပြောခဲ့ပါတယ်စေတသိက်ကတော့တတ္တရမေတ္တာစေတသိက်ပါပဲအဲ့ဒီတတ္တရမေတ္တာခေါ်တဲ့ဥပ္ပခာတံဘောဇင်ရောက်ဖြစ်ပေါ်လာတဲ့တတိအဲ့ဒီတတိဟာတိတ်ကိုစင်ကြဲလာတာဘယ်လောက်ထိစင်ကြယ်တယ်လဲဆိုရင်မုံမွားမွားလေးတွေကအစအကုန်လုံးမိမိရဲ့မှတ်နိုင်လာတယ်လွတ်တယ်လို့မရှိတော့အောင်မိလာတာအဲ့ဒါကိုစင်ကြယ်လာတယ်ခေါ်တယ်အထူးအားဖြင့်သင်္ခါရုပ္ပခာညာပိုင်းရောက်တဲ့အခါတော်တော်ကြီးတိမ်မွေးတဲ့အာယုံလေးတွေကိုပဲတိလာတာဒါတတိစင်ကြယ်လာလို့ပေါ့ခုနဥပ္ပခာတံဘောဇင်အစွမ်းကြောင့်ဖြစ်ပေါ်လာတဲ့တတိလုံးဝစင်ကြယ်လာလို့ဒီလိုအနေရောက်လာတာ
What is responsible for the arising of this perfectly pure mindfulness? It is the mental factor called Tatramajjata, which is a synonym for Upekkha or equanimity. This mental factor becomes so strong that it is included in the 7th factor of enlightenment as equanimity. It has this tremendous power of balancing associated or concomitant mental states. And it is due to this highly developed sort of balanced state of mind that mindfulness arises in a very pure state. It is because of the purity of the mindfulness that phenomena can be seen very, very clearly during this stage of practice. Even the subtlest particles and tiniest vibrations can be picked up by the mindfulness. And things are moving or happening so quickly and so subtly that they may seem to be almost imperceptible, but still the mindfulness is so keen and sharp that everything is picked up without any gaps in between. This especially becomes even much more developed at deeper levels of insight, especially so when insight into the equanimity of formations is attained. The subtlest phenomena can be detected and clearly seen by a very highly developed and pure sort of mindfulness.
ဖြစ်ရှိစံဒီမှာလည်းပဲခုနတတ္တရမေတ္တာခေါ်တဲ့ဥပ္ပခာတံဘောဇင်ကတော့ပါသလောက်တော့ပါနေပါတယ်ဒါပေမဲ့လို့ပထမဇာမှာဝိတ္တနဲ့ဝိစာရနှောက်ယှက်မှုကြောင့်သူဟာမပေါ်လွင်လာပါဘူးတံဘောဇင်အပိုင်းမရောက်သေးတော့ဖြစ်နေပါတယ်ပါသလောက်တော့ပါနေပါတယ်နောက်ပထမဇာရောက်တဲ့အခါမှာလည်းပိဋိဒုက္ခပိဋိရဲ့နှောက်ယှက်မှုကြောင့်ခုနဥပ္ပခာတံဘောဇင်ဟာပေါ်လွင်သေးတယ်လို့မပေါ်လွင်ပါဘူးဒီထဲမှာဒုက္ခတို့ဘာတို့ကလည်းပါနေသေးတယ်ဝမ်းမြောက်မှုတွေကလည်းပါနေသေးတယ် Tatiya Zan Kaita Maleve they be a chanda nida, a timadura, a long chanda. Eddie Dukaga, Pani or 2 years no shame who yaw, Tatra Mizata, Wegatan was here, they mapon in the through that I yaw their Kajara. When I saw being up the Ari, Kolu Kinsi, Vidodora. Aduka Masuka Sura, when la there. Eddie Aduka Masuka and the Bubon lady Kama. Wegatan Bossing. Call it Tatra Mizata, take our condor. Nigame Ma Niyonga Shi Nido La Yeha Matinsha Yabe Yode Kajama Edi Laya Yeha Nya Momay Yari at Duet Pubido Doctor Boma de Tinshala the body. Tatra Mizata called it Ubekatan was in her Nya Momay do it Ubeka a poor Yalita never the carry do at the Arcona. Doctor Baba carry Pilara. Eddie Tatra Mizata called it Ubekatan was in Pipo the D. They say Jedama.
Nothing about the Apoya.
Ubeka, Aduka Masuka.
Vedana.
To a Yamma in it. Yamo Yodeka La Gilina, Mamaya, Niginjaro, Neon and Luani, Jinjau La Yea. Tatra Mizata, Ubeka was
As a matter of fact, this mental factor called Tatra Matata, or that balancing state of mind as a mental concomitant, is present in each of the jhanas. It is present right from the very start, from the first jhana through the fourth jhana. However, it has always been overshadowed by other more assertive jhanic factors in the lower 3 jhanas. In the first jhana, for example, the jhanic factors of vitaka and vichara initial application and sustained application, sometimes even discursive thinking, are so strong that they make this mental factor of balance quite unapparent. It is there, but so undeveloped that it does not stand out at all. In the second jhana, the presence of rapture that brings about all the thrills and chills and happiness and joy also overshadows this mental state of balance. Again, it is just another factor which is very, very undeveloped. It's rather neglected. Come the third jhana, there is this ultra sweet happiness or comfort, which again predominates, and thus this mental factor of balance has no chance to show itself or to develop itself. But when this super sweet happiness or comfort disappears and brings about the appearance of that feeling which is neither comfortable nor uncomfortable, neither pleasurable nor displeasurable, then this mental factor of balance has a chance to shine, to develop to its full maturity. One can compare this to the sun and the moon. When the sun is up, the moon can hardly be seen, and even if it is up there in the sky, it is nothing compared to the brightness of the sun. It is really overshadowed. But come nightfall, when dusk sets in and darkness comes, then the moon reigns supreme, shining ever so brightly in the sky. So too, in the lower jhanas, the preceding jhanic factors are shining so brightly like the sun that the moon has no chance to make its appearance. But when the last of these jhanic factors of sweet happiness is gone and replaced by that neutral feeling, then it's like night has fallen, and the mental state of balance or equanimity will have a chance to rise and reign supreme, shining in its full splendor. Thus, when the fourth jhana, the fourth Vipassana jhana, is attained, this mental factor of equanimity becomes predominant.
ဒီသရုဒ္ဓဇံချမ်းသာဟာဉာဏ်ဆိုင်ရာတွေထဲမှာဆိုရင်တော့ဘင်္ဂဗျာအာရိနောနိဗ္ဗိဒာမုစိတုကမြတာပရိသင်္ဂဉာဏ်ပိုင်းအထိသိပြီးတော့မရှင်းလင်းလာသေးပါဘူးသိပြီးတော့အာမကောင်းလာသေးပါဘူးသင်္ခါရိပ္ပကဉာဏ်ပိုင်းလောက်ရောက်သွားပြီဆိုလို့ရှိရင်တော့သိအားကောင်းလာတယ်သင်္ခါရိပ္ပကဉာဏ်ပိုင်းဆိုတာအထူးကြောင့်ကြမှုမပြုတ်ရဘဲနဲ့အလိုလိုထင်ပေါ်လာတဲ့သင်္ခါရတရားတို့ကိုအညီအမျှရှုနိုင်တဲ့အပိုင်းကိုဒါသင်္ခါရိပ္ပကဉာဏ်ပိုင်းခေါ်တယ်အဲ့ဒီပိုင်းရောက်တဲ့အခါအလွန်ကိုထင်ရှားပါတယ်
ဒီဝိပဿနာဉာဏ်စဉ်သင်္ခါဉာဏ်ပြီးတော့
သင်္ခါဉာဏ်စပြီးတော့အကုန်လုံးသင်္ခါရိပ္ပကဉာဏ်အထိပေါ့ဒါသရုဒ္ဓဇံဆိုင်ရာဉာဏ်နေပဲ
အတိအကျဉာဏ်နာမည်ထုတ်ပြောမလား
သမညပြောလိုက်ရပါတယ်အတိပ္ပယ်တော့မပြောနဲ့
However, this quality of equanimity does not really become fully developed until that level of insight called insight into the equanimity of formations. Now, between this insight and that of dissolution, there is a series of other insights, like insight into fear, insight into disgust, insight into wanting to be liberated, and so forth. There are quite a number of insights, successive insights that leads to this deep level of insight into equanimity of formations. Now these lower insights, although they can be classified as belonging to this fourth jhana, they do not really exhibit this mental factor of equanimity very clearly. It is only when this very deep level of insight into the equanimity of formations is reached, that the mind really becomes very equanimous in its noting and noticing of phenomena that are happening. Things begin to move very smoothly, and the mind is able to pick up objects in a very cool fashion without being perturbed at all by the pleasantness or unpleasantness of the objects of meditation.
ဉာဏ်ရှင်တွေကတော့ပြောလို့မဖြစ်ပါဘူး။ဒါပေမဲ့အမျက်လောက်ပဲပြောအောင်ပါပဲ
It is not proper or appropriate for the Sayadaw to give you a detailed explanation of the progress of insight. But he will only go through very briefly.
အဲ့ဒီဥပ္ပခာပါရိသုတ်တိတတ္တရမိဇ္ဇတာဥပ္ပခာကြောင့်ဖြစ်တဲ့တတိဟာလုံးဝစင်ကြယ်တယ်ဆိုတော့တိမ်နေမှုရဲ့အရာလေးတွေကိုကလည်းမှတ်နိုင်ပြီးတော့ပိုင်ပိုင်ခြားခြားသိနေတာအဲ့ဒီတော့ထိကောင်းတာအဲ့ဒီကကြားလို့ရှိရင်စလင်ဥပ္ပခာဆိုတာဖြစ်လာတယ်ကြုံတွေ့ရတဲ့အာယုံ6ပါးနဲ့စပြီးတော့ဝမ်းသာစရာနဲ့တွေ့လဲပဲတာစရာနဲ့တွေ့လဲဝမ်းမသာတော့မသာရတော့ဝမ်းနဲ့စရာစိတ်ပြက်စရာစိတ်ဆိုးစရာနဲ့တွေ့လဲပဲဝမ်းနဲ့စိတ်ဆိုးမှုမရှိတော့အညီအမျှရှုနိုင်တယ်။ဘာဖြစ်လို့အညီအမျှရှုနိုင်တယ်လို့ဆိုတော့ထက်မြက်တဲ့တတိကအမြဲတမ်းပါပြီးတော့အဲ့ဒါလေးတွေတိနေတာပျောက်သွားတာလေးတွေသိနေတာ။ဒါမလို့ဒီအခါမှာယောဂီကတိတ်ကိုငြိမ်သက်လာတာဘယ်လောက်ထိငြိမ်သက်လာတယ်ဆိုရင်ယဟန္တာစိတ်နဲ့မချပေါ့လေအမှန်တန်ရှင်းလာတယ်လို့ဒီလိုကြံ့ငံများမှာမိတ်ဆိုပါတယ်ယောဂီတွေအတွင်းနဲ့လည်းပဲမှန်လဲမှန်နေပါတယ်ဒီပိုင်းကတခါမှာဖောင်းနာပိန်နာတွေပျောက်သွားထိုင်နာထိတာတွေမှတ်ရတခါမှာထိုင်နာထိတာပါပျောက်သွားစိတ်ကလေးတွေကြားနေတာအဲ့ဒီစိတ်ကလေးကလည်းမှုံမှားမှားလေးပဲစိတ်ကလေးတွေမှတ်နေရတော့တခါစိတ်ကလေးကမရှိရှိဖြစ်နေတာလွတ်ကိုတိမ်မွေ့နေတာပဲဓမ္မတိမ်မွေ့တာမှအဲ့ဒီဘိုင်းကိုအေးအေးဆေးဆေးလေးရောက်သွားတာအဲ့ဒါအဒုက္ခမဆုခဒုက္ခလည်းမဟုတ်ဆုခလည်းမဟုတ်ဒုက္ခဆုခမရှိတဲ့ဥပ္ပခစရိပါတိသုတ်တိသရုဒ္ဓဇံတဲ့အဲ့ဒါမှာခေါင်းတိတ်ရောက်သွားတာပဲဥပ္ပခစရိပရိသတိခုနတတ္တမိစ္ဆတာကြောင့်ဖြစ်ပေါ်လာတဲ့တတိအလုံးဝစင်ကြဲသွားတာဘယ်လောက်ထိစင်ကြဲလဲဆိုတိတ်တိမ်မွေ့တာစိတ်ကလေးမရှိတိရှိအပိုင်းရောက်ပြီအဲ့ဒါလေးပါသိနေတာခါ
How pure is the mindfulness that arises as a result of the power of this mental quality of balance. This balance of mind is able to create or bring about that mindfulness which is so sharp and agile and quick that there is no chance for attachments or aversions to occur. At this point, it is said that the yogi is endowed with the six-limbed equanimity. The six-limbed equanimity refers to the balance of mind experienced while noting objects occurring at the six sense doors. Objects which normally would sweep you off the ground, so to speak, with excitement or thrilling happiness, will strangely have no effect on you. Objects which are very unpleasant normally, which tend to create a lot of aversion, dislike, anger, thoughts of aggression, etc., too lose their influence completely. The mind is so perfectly balanced that it remains coolly imperturbable in the face of all such objects. Come what may, good or bad objects, the mind is just there waiting for whatever that comes, unshakable and perfectly cool. But everything that is seen arises and passes away so quickly that there is absolutely no space at all for making slips. This occurs at each of the six sense doors. Another feature of this stage of insight is the subtlety of the field of awareness. The more you note, the more subtle things become. You're watching the rising and falling. As you watch it, it turns more and more subtle, turns into vibrations, into particles, and it becomes more and more imperceptible. Sometimes it simply disappears. And at which point you try to look at the sitting and touching postures, the sitting posture and the touch points. That too becomes more and more subtle as you look at them, and they too disappear. And at times there is no bodily sensation at all, not to speak of body form. And what remains is just consciousness. The consciousness that is aware that nothing is there. The consciousness that is aware that there are no bodily sensations present. And even that consciousness of that phenomena of awareness, of knowing, is made the object of knowing. So you are noting, knowing. And even the consciousness can become so subtle, and sometimes it seems almost imperceptible. Sometimes it's there and sometimes it's not there. It's as though you're moving in and out of a fog. But there is clarity of mind and there is extreme sharpness in your mindfulness. So this illustrates how pure and sharp the mindfulness is that comes out of this space of mental balance or equilibrium. In fact, this space or this state of mental equilibrium is so fantastic that the scriptures praise the yogi who has attained to such a stage of practice as one who is akin to an arahant. Only during that time, of course. The mind is much like that of an arahant. akin to the mind of an arahant, which is totally unshakable in the face of any objects that may arise in the field of mindfulness.
အဲ့ဒီအခိုက်အတန့်ဖြစ်တဲ့စိတ်ထားလေးဟာယဟနာစိတ်ထားနဲ့တူတယ်သာပြောတာနော်ယဟနာဖြစ်သွားပြီလို့ပြောတာမဟုတ်ဘူး
Sayadaw would like to remind all of you that even if you have attained to such a state of practice, you're still not an arahant. It's just for that moment of mindfulness that your mind is like that of an arahant.
အဲ့ဒီစိတ်ကလေးတွေတက်တက်မှားတဲ့အခါမျိုးမှာငကိုကယောဂရှိတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်တွေဘယ်လိုနေမလဲယောဂဘယ်ကလာမလဲစဉ်းစားစမ်းပါ
When everything disappears and there is only consciousness left behind, where is the sickness or ailments that are affecting the yogi? What happened? Where are they?
ကိုပုံလည်းမရှိဘူးထိုင်နေသလားဆိုတာလည်းပဲဒီလိုအချင်းရလည်းမရှိဘူးပြီးတော့ရုပ်သဘောတွေဆိုတာလည်းမရှိဘူးစိတ်သက်သက်တွေကြားနေတာဘယ်ကယောဂလာနိုင်မလဲဒီမှာ
Since there is no bodily form at all, and you're not even aware of the posture in which you're in, there is no physical phenomena at all that is perceptible. There is only consciousness. And at such a point, where or how can the sickness arise?
အဲ့ဒီအခါမျိုးမှာယာနာရှိတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်များမပြတ်လက်နဲ့ကုတ်နေရတာတော့အဲ့ဒီအခါမျိုးယာနာပေါ်မလာဘူးယောဂတွေကင်းနေတာဒီမှာသိထူးကြတာပဲဒီမှာ
Let go.
အမြဲတမ်းကုတ်နေရတာဒီယာလို့ကုတ်နေရတာအဲ့ဒီခါကျတော့ယာတာတွေပါလည်းမရှိဘူးကိုမှမရှိတော့ပဲကိုပြောင်းနေတော့ရုပ်တွေလည်းပြောင်းနေတော့ဘယ်ကသွားယာတော့မလဲလို့ဘူမလည်းမသိအေးမလည်းမသိအကုန်လုံးဒီမှာစိတ်ကလေးတွေတက်တက်ရှိနေတာ
Yahana ne bro sai.
ဟောဒီခါကျတော့ဝေဒနာတွေကင်းနေပုံတွေပေါ့ဒီကယာနာအမြဲတမ်းရှိတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ဒီခါကျတော့မကုတ်ရတော့ဘူးလေယောဂတွေကင်းနေတယ်
Yahana. Well, some of you may be suffering from some ailments. For example, back aches, back problems. You may perhaps be suffering from some allergy, maybe some itches somewhere. But when you arrive at that stage of practice where there is only consciousness left, you don't have to worry about scratching.
ပြောစရာတွေအများကြီးရှိပါတယ်ဒီမှာတော်လေးချက်ပြောအချိန်ကမရဘူးအဲ့တော့အားလုံးဒီမှာစံချမ်းသာကိုခြုံလိုက်လို့ရှိရင်၄ပိုင်းပိုင်းလိုက်လို့ရှိရင်ပထမစံချမ်းသာကဝိကဇသုခလို့ခေါ်တယ်និဝရဏတရားတွေကင်းဝတ်စင်ကြယ်ခြင်းကြောင့်ဖြစ်ပေါ်လာတဲ့ချမ်းသာတဲ့စံချမ်းသာတဲ့ဒီမှာအဲ့ဒါကပထမဇာမှာထင်ရှားပါတယ်
If we were to look at these types of happiness that are achieved through the various sorts of to the various jhanas, we can classify them into 4 types of happiness. The first happiness that is derived through the first jhana is called the happiness of rapture. No, is the happiness of seclusion, because at the first jhana, the hindrances have been kept away. The mind is very remote and secluded from the hindrances. Therefore, it is called the happiness of remoteness or seclusion.
ဒုတိယဇန်ကိုတော့သမာဓိကြပိဋိစုခလို့ခေါ်ပါတယ်သမာဓိအရှိန်ကြောင့်ဒုတိယဇန်မှာသမာဓိကတော်တော်ကောင်းလာပါတယ်အဲ့ဒီသမာဓိအရှိန်ကြောင့်ဖြစ်ပေါ်တဲ့ပိဋိဒုက္ခပါတဲ့ချမ်းသာ
ဒုတိယဇန်
သမာဓိကြပိဋိစုခ
The second sort of happiness comes with the second jhana. And this is called the happiness of concentration. It is the happiness that is experienced in the form of rapture and comfort, which comes out of good concentration.
တတိယဇန်ကိုတော့ကာယစုခလို့ဒီလိုပြောထားပါတယ်ပီတိမပါတော့ပီတိမပါတော့နာတက်တဲ့နဲ့အဲဒီကချမ်းသာလေးပေါ့လေဒုက္ခဖြစ်ပေါ်တယ်တော့ပီတိပြုတ်သွားတဲ့ချမ်းသာပေါ့လေပီတိနဲ့တွဲနေတော့တက်လောက်မကောင်းပီတိပြုတ်သွားတဲ့ခါကျတော့အဲ့ဒီချမ်းသာလေးကသိတ်ကောင်းလာတယ်အတိမတုဒဆိုတာပေါ့အလွန်ချုံမြင့်တဲ့ချမ်းသာဟိုဘက်ဆိုရင်အဲ့ဒီချမ်းသာမျိုးမရှိတော့ဒါချမ်းသာကောင်းတဲ့ပဲအဲ့ဒီချမ်းသာကိုတတိယဇန်မှာတော့ကာယစုခချမ်းသာလို့ခေါ်ပါတယ်ဇန်ချမ်းသာလို့ခေါ်ပါတယ်
The third sort of happiness comes with the third jhana. Here, rapture has been abandoned, and so there is only mental comfort that is left behind. And therefore this happiness is called the happiness of comfort.
စတုဒ္ဒဇံကတော့တတိတွေကလည်းထူးခြားခြားကောင်းလာတယ်အတိကလည်းပဲထူးခြားကောင်းလာတယ်စတိနဲ့စံပါကြညာအသိကောင်းလာတာအထူးအားဖြင့်တတ္တရမိစ္ဆတတ္တာခေါ်တဲ့ဥပ္ပကတံဘောဇဉ်ကဒီမှာအားကပြည့်လာတာကိုအဲ့ဒီအားပြည့်လာတဲ့ဥပ္ပကတံဘောဇဉ်ကြောင့်ဖြစ်တဲ့တတိဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ညာလည်းအကုန်လုံးဒီထဲပါသွားပါတယ်တတိဦးစားပေးကောင်းတက်ပြီးတော့ပြောထားတာပါတတိတို့ညာတို့သမာဓိတို့အကုန်လုံးဒီထဲမှာစုံသွားပါတယ်အထူးအဖြင့်တတိကောင်းတော့ညာလည်းကောင်းလာတာအဲ့ဒီချမ်းသာကိုညာနာစုခလို့ခေါ်ပါတယ်
Finally, the fourth sort of happiness comes with the fourth jhana. As was described, the mindfulness that is occurring during this stage of practice is very sharp and clear and powerful. Clear mindfulness or sharp mindfulness conduces to penetrative insight, which too becomes very, very encompassing and also very strong and powerful. Of course, when we talk about sati or mindfulness, we also refer to samadhi, concentration, as well as insight, for they are very, very closely interrelated. There can only be good concentration if there is good mindfulness, and there can only be good or strong insight when concentration is deep and strong. So this last sort of happiness is called the happiness of wisdom, of insight.
အဲ့ဒီဇန်ချမ်းသာတွေထဲမှာဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ညာနာစုခအကောင်းဆုံးပဲ
Amongst these four types of happiness, the best, of course, is the fourth, which is the happiness of insight or wisdom.
ဒါပေမဲ့လို့အခုပြောခဲ့တဲ့ချမ်းသာတွေဟာသင်္ခါရနယ်တဲ့ကချမ်းသာတွေလောက်ပဲရှိပါသေးတယ်ငြိမ့်နဲ့ကောင်းနေတဲ့ချမ်းသာစိတ်နဲ့အေးချမ်းပြီးတော့ကောင်းနေတဲ့ချမ်းသာတက်တောင့်တက်တာလေးငြိမ်ပြီးတော့ကောင်းနေတဲ့ချမ်းသာအဖြစ်မကင်းသေးဘူး Teke chanda modevu. Nyebiro kongdwari chanda ma, Dhamma teke chanda be. Edi ipsipyati yadwara, shuziane shuda, ayunli kala yapiro. Nyendwari chanda muma, edi chanda muma kauna. Era Santi Sukha Lukovare.
Of course, however, these four types of happiness occur still within the realm of conditioned phenomena. They arise in conjunction or because of they arise in the midst of conditioned phenomena. You go through the the various sorts of happiness. Happiness which is exciting and thrilling. Happiness which smoothens down to maybe very peaceful comfort, or tranquil comfort. And also sharp wisdom. But still, you are within the boundary, within the limits of conditioned phenomena. It is only if the yogi is able to transcend this world of conditioned phenomena that he can experience the ultimate happiness, the happiness of real peace, which is called Santi Sukha in Pali. This occurs when the objects of meditation, all the mental and physical phenomena, as well as the noting mind, come to a stop.
Edi Santi Sukha Nibbān kūdwa bōng le ro athē siat pyo lo ma phit pa bu. Naw ajaung nyi nyut de kha ja ma be akhwint ta lo shi yin pyo yaung ma po. Ho so Dhamma yogi siat ne yogi de le shi ni de nya ma phit de yogi de. Da ho te cha detail pyo yin tu lo ma anaut chet phit phwe ya shi ba de. Di lak be pyo pya si do. Edi Santi Sukha ya twa de akha ma edi ya de pukkul ha tu mya atwet do mimi ha kalyana mitta teke asit phit twa ba bi. Edi kalyana mitta ma piet song ya me inga di ba de soda nya do set ho ba me.
It will not be possible nor appropriate for the Sayadaw to talk in detail on this transition process, on this crossing over from this world of conditioned phenomena to that happiness of peace. This is because there are many new yogis here who have not completed their Vipassana insights. And if we should deal in detail with the mechanics of the crossing process, it would serve as a great hindrance for these new yogis. Maybe at a future time, when conditions are more conducive, Sayadaw may discuss this in more detail. What is more important is that when this Santi Sukha, or happiness of peace, is attained and realized by the yogi, he then can rightly call himself a true Kalyana Mitta, a true spiritual friend to those who are desirous of walking the spiritual path. As to the other qualities required of a true spiritual friend. Sayadaw will talk about them tonight. This is all for today.